Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hotel Orloff here in scenic rural Retreat, Virginia. It's Monday night, October 7th, 2024, in the year of our Lord. And, Drew the dog, you're sitting where I was going to sit. Here, let me sit with you. You mind? Yeah, move on. Move over, little dog. The big dog's moving in. Well, it's a beautiful night in the neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I haven't seen you guys since about 6 o'clock this morning. It's now, I don't know, dark outside again. Anyway, so I was telling you this morning that I knew I was going to receive a big AOK today. And let me show you. Here it is. See, President Donald J. Trump sent me this letter a few days ago. It says, "Dear friend, I am 100% committed to leading our party to victory in this November's election all across the country. I need Republican grassroots leaders like you, men and women who have done so much to help our party in the past, working alongside me. That is why I've made it my first priority, after securing the Republican presidential nomination, to contact you and the Gratu Army and the Gratu and the jerks to ask you to stand by me in this critically important undertaking. The fate of all of our Republican candidates in our party in the 2024 election is in the hands of patriotic Americans like you, Gratu. I know for certain we cannot succeed without your immediate and generous support. So that's why I'm asking you to join in the effort I'll be spearheading in the coming months to build and strengthen our party's grassroots infrastructure that is so vital to winning back the White House and electing Republicans up and down the ticket. I have sent money to Kevin Johnson at Gotham City Comics in Mesa, Arizona, to purchase comics and magazines from your hold pile, as and he's saying to show that he's committed to the Gratu Orloff Army and to this network, the Gratu Orloff Inspirational Network, ladies and gentlemen. So, I'll show you what he sent. So all of this came from Gotham City Comics in Mesa, Arizona, through the courtesy of our friend Donald J. Trump down in Mar-a-Lago, which I think is going to miss the hurricane that's coming. And man, that's like 48 hours from now. You'll be. I said a prayer this morning, and I've been thinking about it all day, and we'll say a prayer again before we go off the air this evening. For those of you in the path, hopefully you're already packing up and getting out of Dodge. Well, so one thing I got from Donald Trump paid for the Svengoolie comic book. And there's Pinup Palmer, also known as Sarah Palmer. On this show, she's known as Gwen Gooley. Cleo and I, my wife Cleo and I, discovered this girl last Christmas. I mean, we discovered her personally. We saw that she had a Christmas special last Christmas, and we said, well, what's this? And it turned out to be just delightful. Look up on YouTube, Pinup Palmer, and look for the Christmas show. All her shows are great. She's this young girl. I don't even think she's 25, but she has the charm. I think she has the ability. She can actually eclipse what Elvira did in her upcoming career. I think she has. I mean, she writes all her own lines for the Svengoolie show. She lives in California and commutes twice a month to Chicago to film episodes of Svengoolie. And Svengoolie is part of an empire of horror hosts in Chicago that goes back generations. I mean, there was the Ghoul in Chicago, I believe. And then there was Son of the Ghoul, who was like a hippie. I'm not sure if Son of the Ghoul became Svengoolie. He's been doing it for, you know, this guy's been doing it for decades and decades. But anyway, my goodness, there's some little freebies in here. What do we have here? Yeah, see, this is Gotham City Comics, the store that Donald Trump shops at. And when you call up Kevin at Gotham City Comics at this phone number, tell him Donald Trump sent you, or you can tell him Gratu Orloff sent you. Either one will be fine. And again, it's 480-649-3065. Dear friends, this is not just a comic book store. This is a monster store. This is for people that grew up loving monsters. He has monster masks. He has all kinds of memorabilia. He's, yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Look at this, man. I've got my own Justice League, what is this, a credit card? That's incredible. Let's look at this comic. So it's his 45th anniversary. That's why they're and these it really has the illusion of actually being printed on newsprint. It's as I said before, is their own story. 1,200 stories. But I'd like to share 3 short stories. So this is he has. You can get this if you order him. Order him. You order him up. Just call him up. Tell him you want the Svengoolie comic that came out. So, there is. See, this character that she plays, Gwen Gooley, is supposed to be I think she's supposed to be an old movie star from the 40s that died, and she's a ghost. So she has her own backup story in the back of the book. Oh, look at this. She's got her own little profile page. And she is really incredible. Not only does she, on YouTube, she does makeup tutorials, you know, where she shows you how you can put, well, if you're a girl, so you can tell your wife to watch, and about, you know, how to exactly match Yvonne DiCarlo's makeup as Lily Munster. She makes herself up look like Elvira, as all the great horror women. And she is very convincing at it. She's got, anyway, Svengoolie. So thank you much to you, Donald Trump, and to you, Kevin Johnson at Gotham City Comics. Oh, look what else he sent. It's one of the issues of the new X-Men that I don't have. Look at that beautiful cover art, man. They don't make them like this anymore. So it's issue 105. So this would be the 12th appearance of Wolverine. Wolverine, they didn't really know what they had yet. The Wolverine, you'll notice in some of these early issues of the new X-Men, he's not even on the cover. I mean, he's there. Now it would be unheard of to have an X-Men cover without Wolverine front and center. Yeah. So thank you, Donald J. Trump. I will add this to my X-Men collection. Donald Trump just put out a book too, and I've got to get a copy of that. Maybe he'll send me an autographed copy. Oh, this copy is in really nice shape. That was incredible. Yeah, I need to take the tape off here. Yes, indeed. Well, I've got a lot to show you, but I don't have a lot of time. Got a lot of comics to show and a short time to show them. I'm northbound and watch old Bandit northbound upstairs to bed, man. Yeah, this is 105, man. Nice and glossy comic from late 1976. Where's my magnifying glass? My atomic magnifying glass will answer that question. June 1977. Okay. That's the month that. Well, this actually wouldn't have been out June 1977. You got to count back 2 months. So you go back to May to April. Yeah, this came out in April of 77, the month that I turned 12. And, but a couple short months after that, Star Wars, the original Star Wars, would be released. So this is what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen. So this is yeah, Kevin got in a whole bunch of old X-Men comics, and Spinnerag Dave picked up a lot of them. Kevin just sold X-Men number 14 with the first appearance of the Sentinels. It was in better shape than this, and that's anyway. So it was. I think he sold it for $500, which I think, believe it or not, is actually a bargain for that. But to someone that has $500, which I don't know. So yeah. So he's got a couple other X-Men's around in this range. I think two others between 100 and 110, 109. I was missing all of them between 103 and 109, and now I have 105, and I think he's got two others on hold for me. So if there are any other rich billionaires that would like to call up this phone number and say, hey, I pledge $30-40 to the Garatu Orloff Fund, I would be most glad. And it will give me material for the show, because I'm a poor man. Don't let the gold ceilings fool you. They're not real gold. Next, PS Art Books is reprinted this. Now, it's comic. Is it comic book size? It looks like it is. Yeah, this is comic book size. It's a reprint of a magazine from the 60s that would have been bigger than this. And see, when you open it up, there's the original cover. But the thing about this was Charlton Comics' attempt to rip off Famous Monsters of Filmland. And, of course, Charlton was famous for its piss poor paper quality. So these Horror Monsters magazines are always in bad shape, but here they've reprinted it for us in this form. And so these PS Art Books people, headed up by Roy Thomas, do a fantastic job. Great ads. I don't think I've ever owned a real copy of Horror Monsters from Charlton. But they've got the ads in the back like Warren would have. It's very look at that, man. Look at that, I tell you. Great stuff. So anyway, they've reprinted this. It was a cheapo attempt to this Famous Monsters was a huge hit. Oh wow, look at that. Can you believe it? What people don't understand is in the early 60s, before the Beatles hit in the beginning of 64 is when the Beatles exploded after they were on the Ed Sullivan Show in the United States. Monsters, the Universal Monsters, became a huge hit in 1957 when Universal released their horror movies from the 30s and 40s to television, which was a new medium, and that only been around 10 years. And these kids fell in love with these Universal monsters that their parents had watched when they were little kids, and they were seeing them on their television. And all of a sudden, the Monster Mash became a big hit, and um, Bobby Boris Pickett did a very good impersonation of Boris Karloff, uh, singing that. And then Boris Karloff got his own TV series, Thriller, and it just revived a lot of careers, and a lot of monster movies started coming out in the theaters, and famous monsters picked up on that craze with this magazine, and there were a lot of imitators of it, a lot of imitators, and that monster craze lasted all 20 years. It started in 57 and went all strong all through the 60s and died when Star Wars came out. About the time that that X-Men comic came out, monsters kind of died, and space adventure took off. And just because, but kids have always loved monsters. Um, Boy, I'm tired, man. So I'm waiting. Trump's about to speak. They're having this ceremony because it's been 1 year since Israel was attacked last October 7th, and I guess they're building up to Trump coming out. And at the end here, this is live right now. I'm not playing loud music. I'm trying to kind of whisper because my wife's working upstairs. She woke up incredibly sick. She had a fever. Um, but she works on a phone job upstairs, and the days that she normally works, they're canceling because one of the main headquarters is down in Florida, and they're going to be getting out of there. So they're not going to have shifts later in the week. And so even though she was sick, she just called up and said, "Hey, I think I can do the second part of the shift," because she had called out. And they said, "Yes, please help us." So she's up there doing that. And I guess she's going to try to do it tomorrow. She's being a real trooper. She's not feeling well. Oh, here comes Trump. I need to turn this down so I don't get a copyright claim for this "God Bless the USA" song, because that's happening to me a lot. There were two songs in this morning's show. I had to go back and have YouTube erase the songs. They can do this where they erase the song that's playing in the background, but keep your voice. And so they had to do that on two songs. I was playing this jungle rock and roll music, exotica kind of stuff this morning. So, Hoarder Monsters. That's the first issue of Hoarder Monsters. And you can get issues of Hoarder Monsters, $30, maybe on mycomicshop.com. But a lot of times the paper is going to be kind of brown. Here's something that's out, a new issue of Alter Ego from Roy Thomas, the same company that put out that Horror Monsters reprint. Here's Alter Ego. It's a brand new issue. This just came out, and it's about jungle comics. So that's right up my alley. And I'm sure, Jambo, if you're watching, you already have a copy of this. Kevin was going to contact you and let you know about this if you didn't already know. But if you haven't been contacted, he's got one, I think, saved for you, if you haven't already picked it up from your local store. This has always been a great magazine that's on slick paper. I mean, this is like, oh man, everything's great. Look at this, Ramona Fraden. I'd forgotten that she did the Plastic Man comic that came out around 1976. I've always loved her. The Human Meteor, I've never heard of him. It's just, I love this magazine, and it just makes me happy. Okay, all these jungle comics. There's one I actually own. This issue of Shanna with the, and I own that issue of X-Men. It's a the logo, the X-Men logo, was removed when it was a remainder comic that didn't sell. And it goes through the whole history of Jungle Comics, ladies and gentlemen. Just unbelievable. Everything. It's just like a dream. Who would have ever thought there'd be a magazine like this? Thank you, Donald J. Trump. I can't wait to vote for him, man. Sending me all these great magazines. Oh, and I've got some other stuff that showed up in the mail today, too, that did not come from Donald J. Trump. Wait till you see that stuff, so stick around. Another magazine that just came out is this, Cryptology. Has a little bit of a Warren kind of look with this. It's a new monster magazine. Now, today, magazines cost $10.95 instead of 95 cents. And I'd say thank you, Joe Biden, but he's not behind that. They're shadowy figures. If you think he ran anything over the last few years, you're sadly mistaken. Okay, and this, man, they put out so many great magazines. They put out Back Issue and this Retro Fan. I used to have a subscription to Retro Fan at the store back in the old country, but I don't live there anymore. So, they're all great magazines. It's just most comic stores don't carry these because they figure they only get them for people that subscribe because they figure they won't sell because these modern comic collectors that collect key issues don't care about. Oh man, I'm talking about comic books adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe. They don't really care about the history of comics. They just want the key issues. This is unbelievable. Oh my God. I was thinking this morning, I had the Milton the Monster comic book, and I'm positive I have that. I think I actually have misfiled it, possibly in a Golden Age box, but I 100% know. Look, articles on the Addams Family and the Munsters and Addams Family toys, and it's just, this is, I can't even tell you. This is a whole thing on Bernie Wrightson. Highly recommended, and Donald Trump knew just what to get for me from my hold pile. Because Kevin told me that when Donald Trump called him, that he didn't just say, "Here's some money, pick out stuff for Gratu." He said, "I know exactly what Gratu needs," and he picked out these particular titles. He said, "Make sure you get these to him," and he sent them. And they got to me they came this morning while I was at work. I think he mailed them, I don't know, just a few days ago, and they got to me quick. What else is there? Oh, one other thing. It's an issue of Retro Fan with an article on Space Ghost. This Jackson 5 cartoon was pretty great. Remember, there was the Jackson 5 cartoon, and there was an Osmond Brothers cartoon, and they were almost identical. And from the same animation studio, they were really great. Retro Fan is like that Cryptology, same company, except it's more broad. It's not just monster stuff. It might be the cast of ISIS, or article on John Aston. I mean, it's gonna, the Partridge Family. What was that? 2200? Was that the year? Forget what year they were. It's the Partridge Family in the future. Yeah, Jackson 5 and the Osmonds. And the Beatles. The Beatles were the first time that they had a cartoon on Saturday morning with the animated version of people, real people, I think. Could be wrong. Probably wrong. Space Ghost. Space Ghost, of course, was, well, Batman's popular. Let's make a Batman in outer space. I mean, that's basically what it is. Let's get Alex Toth to design it. Great cartoon. Everything was great back then, except for the Vietnam War. That wasn't too great. My father was off in Vietnam, and my mother was pregnant with me. She had to drive herself to the hospital when she was having labor pains. And she got my two older brothers, her dad, my grandfather, watched them, and she drove herself. Who does that? What kind of a strong woman does that, man? You can. I can't imagine. All right, so whatever. Well, I got a letter from John Goris, the famous animator, and he has a YouTube channel. He sent me some stuff because he called me and told me one of his videos had been taken down by YouTube, and he wants to preserve it all. So I am in the process of recording onto DVD his entire everything he has up on YouTube. So he sent me this. Look at this. This was in an envelope. The Hideous Sun Demon. It's like an ad from a TV guide. The Hideous Sun Demon, 7 o'clock p.m. Say 7 o'clock p.m. Cult Cinema Classics. Hideous Sun Demon was a wonderful, wonderful movie. I don't know how he knew that I love that movie so much. I guess just because all real Americans love the Hideous Sun Demon. How could you not? But he said, "You do this favor for me. I'll do a favor for you. I will send you a sketchbook." And I said, "Hey, I would do it for nothing, but I'm not going to turn down the sketchbook," because I had seen this. He had shown it on a live stream, and John Goris does animation all day, stop motion animation, drawn animation, fantastic stuff. And he draws, he makes posters, he's just a full-time artist, right? Well, this sketchbook is all sketches of Batman, and they're impressions in his mind of Batman, his memories of what Batman was, as opposed to looking at a Batman comic or looking at a photograph as a source. He's using his mind, his memories going back decades of all the different Batman incarnations, and he filled a whole sketchbook with drawings of Batman, and it's spectacular. So I'm looking through it for the first time in person. I mean, I did see it on a live stream and we were all oohing and awing over it. But now it will become part of the museum here and we will cherish it. It's everything John Goris has sent me, I'm saving. And it's like all the stuff I have of Joe Riley, the guy behind the Hypnotic Eye public access TV show out of Dallas that I helped with that show. Everything I have of Joe Riley's, I've model kits built by him and artwork and paintings. It's all in his memory, that it's because he passed away a while back. This is spectacular. I was telling John Goris that if DC had any common sense, they would have him be. I am serious. I would hire him to draw the comic book because it's such a distinctive. It's like, I don't know. It's great. And these are just sketches. These are just sketches. I don't know. They've got a Batman comic now where he has a bat on his chest that he can take off, and it's the top part of an axe, and he puts a stick into the bat symbol, and then he chops people's hands off with it, and that's what they think is innovative at DC now. But I would I would go for this. It's almost like, in a dream, you remember something from a past life, and he's remembering kind of what Batman should be. Look at that. I would buy a comic book that looked like this because it's like, wow, it's it has an underground feel, like outsider art, like it. I like it. Oh, look at that one. That's fantastic. Look at that. See, it's like a fever dream. You're remembering, well, I remember at some points in my life, Batman had a black suit. And at some points in my life, I remember him having a lot of blue on his suit. And it seems like I remember the bat symbol has changed on his chest, and you're just trying to put it all together, and it's, I don't think there's any artist for DC right now that's they could do this because they all draw on computers, and this is all. Ooh, this is good. Look at that. That's good. I found out something today. Um, if you watch, like, say, the Batman 1966 feature film on Blu-ray, and you see it with tremendous resolution, you notice things that are very subtle, like when Adam West plays Bruce Wayne. He they changed his look when he plays Batman. They draw a slight little, with maybe an eyebrow pencil, little cleft in his chin, just a little bit. But when he's Bruce Wayne, they don't do that. So it makes him look more like, heroes always seem to have that. Superman's always drawn with that kind of chin. Look at this. Look at that. The colors are just. Do you ever see color like that on a? I don't think so. On a comic book of today, I don't know. It's fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Let's turn him up. Look at this. You see, his animation looks like this, but the main thing he does, one of the most spectacular cartoons, he's got tons of cartoons, but I call them cartoons, animation. He does this cartoon with this tank that has a skeleton running the tank with a cigar, and he just blows people away. And it's this ultra violent cartoon. It's called Ghost Tank, and that's one of my favorite things. He also has this other series of cartoons with robots and mutants fighting, and tons of fun. Did I just show you that page? I don't know. Look at the sparkly stuff in that. Do you see the what he's done, man? Damn. The great thing about John Gores is he doesn't like clutter, and obviously I don't mind it. And so he likes to get rid of stuff to have his house more clutter free. And I say, I'm like the Statue of Liberty. Give me your trash. Give me your junk. Give me your old monster magazines yearning to be free. You know, hey, man, I'm your garbage disposal. Stick out your cans. I'm the garbage man. Yes, indeed. And so if you want to send me stuff you're just thinking of throwing away, I will gladly, like Kevin was about to throw this worthless Justice League little thing away. And I said, no, send it to me. I'll take it, even though you see how that does that look? Look at this professional Batman drawing. Do you like that better? I like this better, personally. Trust me, we're just getting started. Still have all this to go here. Man. Before I retired, I was an English teacher. And I would see students, some teachers, students doodling, while you're teaching, and they'd say, how dare you, and crumple it up. I'd say, wow, that's pretty good. Here, let me give you some white paper so you can draw, not with unlined notebook paper. Here's some white paper. I want to see what you can do. But just don't do it right now. Take this white paper, do it somewhere else, bring it back to me, and I'll put it in the school magazine. I'll put it in it's the magazine I put out for the school. And you'll be a published artist. And I'll give you pages and pages. You can do comics for this magazine. And then everyone would say, wow, your art's cool. And then all of a sudden, you have the feeling. And I do the same thing with the kids. They would be published writers, they'd be published artists, and everyone would be saying, hey, I like your writing. And then, you know, it it builds their oh, I just got a message. Yikes, from Kevin. Halloween wacky packages on sale October 10th. He just sent me a text message that Halloween wacky packages are coming. Oh my God, I'm going to have to call him up. My mother-in-law is Honduran, and so instead of saying, "Oh my gosh," she says, "Oh my God." I just always thought that was funny. And, and my mother used to always say, "Oh my goodness," and I think she learned that from Shirley Temple when she was a little girl watching those movies. And it's like, oh man, oh my goodness. I think that's what she said. I think so. Yeah, weird. What the hell am I talking about? Oh, well, anyway. So I'd find these artists, and only a few times in my career did I find some artists that were really great like this. And it's like, give me all your art, man. You're great. And some of them came back 10, 15 years later and said, thank you for publishing my art. And I went on to do this and that. And I would tell the art teachers, hey, look for this student, because they'd have, this student doesn't need to be drawing a picture of a vase that you put. This student needs to be, has their own muse. Let them draw comic art and monsters because they're great. They're better than you are, Miss Art Teacher. They don't do, But anyway, I was always looking out for artists and for great writers. And so, in an inner city school that had, you know, in trying to get people into college instead of into gangs, which was the other alternative that their older brothers a lot of times had fallen into, and sisters. Look at that beautiful color, that blue, just that little bit of blue on top of a black and white illustration makes it pop, makes it look 3D. This really is, John Goris really is a fantastic artist. He's very humble and he's kind of shy about showing his art on the live streams when I do it. But now hold on, we're starting to see this is what you're going to encounter in his movies when you tune into them on YouTube. It's this ultra violence. That's great. He's completely destroying the guy's face. That's great. Anyway, hope you guys are doing okay. I need to see, a few months ago we tried to help a member of the comic book community that was about to be evicted, and we helped her raise. We we raised at least a couple thousand from people in the Gratu army, and because she needed 4,000, and then I'm sure. I think Captain Strangelove, he donated some amazing Spider-Man comics from the 60s and gave her the proceeds. That was probably, uh, he probably got about 400 or 500. The cheap comic collector, all of his claim sales that Saturday went to help her. And the Rod and Shannon Saturday morning show, the Graphic Man helped. I Love Comics, because she is a moderator for that show, for a bunch of those shows. And anyway, she was saved, and she wound up raising 5,000. She only needed 4,000, so she wasn't evicted. And I saw that she was doing another GoFundMe the other night, and she needed to have 4,000 for this morning by 9 o'clock. And I saw she'd only raised like less than 700 last night. I don't know. I hope she worked out something with the landlord. I was thinking about her, but I'll say a prayer for her. Man, things are horrible all over. It's really sad what American public's going through, and this guy is going to help us, Donald Trump. The guy that sent me those comics magazines, how could you not love that man? Okay. It's just, the Batman never ends. That's true. We need leadership. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's very sad to see. I never thought I'd see it. This attack should have rallied the entire world in support of the Jewish people. That really does work with with that blue on top of black background. Oh, wow. King Batman. And our college campuses and within the ranks of the Democrat Party in particular, not in the Republican Party. I will tell you that it's not in the Republican Party. Imagine if Conan the Barbarian had to fight like a skeleton Batman to get his sword. That made me think of, this famous Conan story where Conan gets his um, sword from this dead warrior, and then it comes to life and fights him. And the Conan the Barbarian movie that John Milius made in the late 70s, it did have, it's sword and sorcery, but he downplayed the sorcery. You do see Thulsa Doom transform into a snake, and you see a few other things that are supernatural, but you see a giant snake and some other spirits, but it's not. I think what he was trying to do is kind of show, okay, if Conan the Barbarian was a real historical figure, and the stories that we have that are imparted to us through Robert E. Howard have all this exaggeration, but the real way it was is he sees the skeleton with the sword in his lap, and he takes it.
Of the God of peace, that brought again from the dead our Lord Jesus, that great shepherd of the sheep, through the blood of the everlasting covenant.
That's the voice of Thulsa Doom and Darth Vader. It's my James Earl Jones Bible clock. Every hour in the hour, it says something from the Bible. But it's weird. I'm talking about Thulsa Doom, and then he starts talking. Anyway, God bless you, James Earl Jones. He passed away a few weeks ago. But okay, so when Schwarzenegger takes the sword and you see the skeleton start to move, and you've read the story, in the comic book, in the original Robert E. Howard paperback, and maybe you read it in the pulp if you're old enough, and okay, the skeleton's going to come to life and fight him, but instead it just falls over. And you think, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. In other words, this is John Milius is saying this is the way it really happened historically, the real Conan the Barbarian. And and he probably, told people, yes, he came to life. I fought him. But I think that's what he was trying to do. Maybe I read it somewhere, sometime. I don't know.
As you know, Hamas has now been severely degraded, and Hezbollah has recently been dealt very, very powerful crippling blows. With strength and the right leadership, the dawn of a new, more harmonious Middle East is finally within our reach. It's finally within.
Interesting.
But you have no idea the role that the United States has to play in order to get that ball over the goal line. We have to get it into the end zone, and if it's not the United States, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We have to be able to get it done and get it done.
That's really good there.
And get back to a wonderful, beautiful way of life.
Oh, look at this 2-page spread.
To finish what you began, and you have to finish it quickly. So here is my commitment to you on the solemn date. I will not allow the Jewish state.
I was going to say, I think I told him I wish you would just do an animated Batman cartoon in this style, but then he couldn't ever do anything with it because it's a character owned by Warner. They could just say, hey, shit can that. You're not allowed to use our character. So you really can't do that. But I wish that DC would give him. I think that if James Gunn saw this, he would go ape over this. I'm pretty sure. With James Gunn, with his punk rock sensibility, with his comic book love, the only thing I just am still bothered about with James Gunn, he was very anti-Trump, so people started looking back. Let's go back in his Twitter and look back and back and back and find something to embarrass him. And they found out he used to joke about a very horrible thing, that's the kind of thing that you Puff Daddy indulges in. And he used to, just about every one of his Twitter tweets was joking about that subject matter, which is not really a funny subject matter, and they weren't. It says keep the change. Oh, that's great. That's a great
We'll
one.
never let the
That would be
harms
worth
of
making
those
into a
who are
poster.
repeated here by
All of
the
these would.
We will not let that happen, and we will solve the problem. And yet,
I just
if you
love it.
look at what happened
I
just
love
a few
that.
days ago in New York
That
City,
reminds me
you
of
wouldn't
the
believe it. They
caveman
said the
mask that
flooding
Johnson
all
and
over
Smith used to sell,
the
the
level
Johnson
of
and Smith
violence was
Company.
as bad as it was last summer. And we
What
can
was I just
achieve
talking
all
about?
of that. We can
Um,
really make sure that those who perished on October
yeah.
7th will not have died in vain. They cannot have died in vain. You cannot let that happen. With God's help, their sacrifice will have given way to a safer Jewish